Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's Fatmata here from Traditionally Inspired Meaningful Art, and I'm so excited to be here with you for a Friday Sews. We have not done this in a long while, and I am just so happy to have you here. So if you are new here, Friday Sews is a hashtag started by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, where we get together once a week to get some updates about what's happening in the sewing space. What have you made? What are you planning to make? What are you up to? And we will get into that in just a moment. I have a lot of makes for you actually, so I'm quite excited. I have some upcoming fall sewing plans. So excited to be sewing for the change of season. It is my favorite. And also, I'm going to let you know about some new in things in the sewing space. And yeah, so much to catch up on. For those of you who watched my most recent video, which if you haven't, I will link it for you, but it is the, I think, best video to watch if you have been putting off an alteration project, need someone to just keep you company while you're sewing, while you're doing the dishes. It literally felt like you just walked into a Zoom room and we were just chatting. That's sort of the vibe of the video, but I give you some updates, some life updates, what's been going on, where I've been, while I begin unpicking the Sirocco jumpsuit that was a fail from last year, as well as a Mimiji pattern that I am gifting to a friend of mine, and I was working through mending that as well. And you'll see some updates on where those projects currently are in this video. All right, so I want to give you a quick Guinea project update. So if you recall, before I left for my trip back home to Guinea, I was working on a crochet project. That was the only thing I took with me to Guinea. Couldn't actually travel with my sewing machine. So I took a portable project, and I never actually got to update you on where that project was. If you saw my community tab, I think you would have seen sort of its last progress shot, but I figured I'd show you here on the channel as well. I am wearing navy. It is navy, so I'm not going to pull it up against me, but look at this beauty. So this is the top. It is a dress. Look at that. Look at the netting. You see how it goes in and then it comes back out? Look, it's still going. It is just gorgeous. So I am so proud of the progress that I made. Look at that. So I have some wider netting that I crocheted here. And all of this was just free-form crochet. I didn't have any sort of pattern. Every time I would get too bored, I would just switch up the type of crochet that I was doing. Now I'm at the finishing stage, and the way that I think I want to finish this up at the top here is to make it sort of like a halter, because I think that's the easiest way, instead of giving it like arms or something like that, or a halter that I would just tie and let the back kind of be a little bit free. Now, whether you'd ever actually see this on my person, I don't know. I might just show you the finished piece on a mannequin because it is quite fitted. And if I were to do this all over again, I think I would have given a lot more ease to the garment for sure. When I initially started this part that then became the hip and the center, I think I was intending to have as the bust. And then as I started sort of crocheting it, I flipped it and made that the hip. And that's what sort of interrupted the way that it fits. So I am just overly proud of the progress that I made on this crochet project. And now that I'm feeling a bit better, at some point I'll finish it. Honestly, it's not really a priority. It was just a fun thing to keep my hands busy on those long drives that we had back home. So I'm really glad that I did it. And at some point I will finish that. But I thought I would give you that update since you hadn't seen it. The first thing that I got to work on since being back, which you haven't seen, is this project here. So let me tilt you. So this is a leather hide, so it's more suede, and I picked up this gray suede at G Street Fabrics. Here it is. And my best friend was going to the Vegas Beyonce concert, and she had seen some TikTok videos or some videos about soaking leather, and then you sort of drape it on a dress form. Then it's supposed to harden, and then you wear it sort of like armor. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful concept and idea. And the hides over at G Street Fabric, I believe, are like dead stock. I believe they get it from a dealer. So, you know, they already exist in the world. Any Hoosers, I volunteered to go into G Street and see if they would have any, since she was in the market for it. And I think this method, I think, calls for it being natural hide, like leather, so that it actually does the whole hardening thing. I know real leather isn't for everyone. I absolutely get it. But I was able to find this. Of the options that they had, they just had navy and this gray, and this was a large piece. So she wanted the gray. We went ahead and picked that up. So we did the whole draping thing. We soaked it, and we went through quite a few iterations to get to this point where it's sort of like draped and beautiful. And unfortunately, like, we did all of the things, but it didn't really do what it's supposed to do. So it's meant to harden and sort of keep its shape. And unfortunately, I think because this is a suede and not the leather that has the, you know how leather usually has the leather finish on it, right? And this is suede. We didn't know that it wasn't going to work. So unfortunately, it didn't quite work. As you can see, it's quite malleable still. It didn't quite do what it was supposed to. So that was unfortunate. So I have the leather now, so I'll see if I can make use of it in some way. We definitely won't allow it to go to waste. We'll see what I can do with it. But unfortunately, it didn't work for that particular technique. Now, what that also means is that when she was planning on doing this, she knew she needed to get a mannequin, a dress form, but wasn't really going to have a use for the dress form after this project. So she was like, I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace. I know I'm going to order it. Would you be interested in me giving it to you, like, when I'm done with this project? Yes, ma'am, please. I had a dress form in my old place, and it was the larger size, so from a medium to large, or like the larger measurement range. And unfortunately, because my bust is much smaller than that size range, I was never able to actually use it for draping. I would use it to display projects, to like hang circle skirts, to let them drop on the bias, but I could never actually use them to drape something that would fit me, at least not on my upper body. I think when I initially bought that, I was so concerned with fitting the hips that I didn't consider the fact that I could always pad out the hips to be larger, but I couldn't make the bust smaller. So I ended up buying the larger size range because that's what fit my hip measurements, and then was never really able to use it for anything pertaining to me. Even sometimes putting garments for myself on that former mannequin, I couldn't actually zip it up because the bust was too large. So when she was searching, she found a smaller dress form, and now I get to keep it. So that's really exciting. So I now have a dress form again, which I'm really excited about. I'm really pumped to get some draping done because I have some gorgeous flowy fabrics that are destined to be beautifully draped upon this body. And now I have this body to drape it on so that it fits me. Super excited. So that's a new one, and she just lives here like this as a memory of what was. But I will at some point free all of my clips because I do need them again for sewing projects. So they've all been living there. So I'm just going to leave her there while we continue on with the rest of the makes. I wanted to give you the alteration updates from the recent video, the most recent video. As I mentioned, I was working on this mini G dress, and this dress for your informaciones. This is Simplicity 9539. It's a gorgeous mini G wrap dress. This was my last make of 2022, and I was super excited about it, and this is the vision. I made it out of this incredibly gorgeous poly crepe fabric that I picked up at G Street Fabrics. I attempted to make a dress out of this fabric twice. Okay, I made the Sicily slip dress last February, so February 2022, didn't work out. That dress will also be altered and gifted to my sister. Then I made this Mimi G wrap dress with the gorgeous ties, but it don't work for me. When I try and wear it with my tall suede blue navy boots, it just keeps getting stuck to the skirt. I've tried wearing slips. I've tried different things. It opens in the wind. There are multiple things that just make it hard for me to wear, where I would just rather put on a different dress that I don't have to think about as much, especially at work, running around after kids, after work with my own children. It just wasn't worth the hassle. So instead, I'm gifting it to my best friend. I went over to her house this week. We measured the length. I shortened the length. Basically, I just made it the length that it's actually intended to be on the pattern. It's going to be a midi length. I had lengthened it for myself when I initially made this, so I chopped off 10 inches from the bottom, so it's relatively very much like the pattern intended for it to be. Another thing that we're going to change, I am going to permanently flip the cuff up because my best friend is taller than I am. When I made this dress, I found that the sleeves came up short even on me, but on her it comes up even shorter, and she has broader shoulders than me, so it sort of heightens where the drop sleeve ends as well. So when the cuff is sort of down, it just looks awkward. So instead, we're going to flip it up, give it sort of like a French cuff look. And I'm going to sort of just permanently tack that up because there won't be a scenario where she would want the sleeve down anyways. It just makes the proportion look so much better on her. I'll add the buttons there. There's an inner button that the wrap attaches to on the inside. And I'm also going to move that over by an inch so it gives her a bit more width around the dress. And I also removed the elastic from the back of this dress, so again she has a bit more room in it. So I'm really excited to get this all fixed up and ready for her, and we've made some great progress. So it just needs a hem and the buttons moved and the cuffs completed. I am going to bind this edge right here since I'm going to permanently sort of flip it up. Because I cut 10 inches off the bottom, I do have more of the fabric, so I'm going to use self fabric to just bind that, so it looks really neat when she has that cuffed up, which I'm super excited about. She looks gorgeous in it. Again, when I saw her in it, when it's all done and she has it, I'll take photos of her in it so you can see how it worked out. The second thing that I was working on was the Sirocco jumpsuit. Again, it's dark navy. I don't know if all the details will show, but it has the arm binding. So nice. I self-drafted these arm bindings. I don't know if it comes with, does the Sirocco come with arm bindings? I know it comes with a sleeve option. Anyways, I self-drafted these and I think it turned out well. I even tapered it so that it sort of, fits the sleeve really snug. I added 4-inch cuffs to the bottom, very nice and snug. And the thing that ruined the Sirocco for me the first time was a personal mistake that I made in the way that I sewed the pocket. So here is the gorgeous pocket. So beautiful pleat right here in front of the Sirocco, and then it has this gorgeous pocket, very nice and roomy pockets. Now when I sewed this the first time, I went ahead and used my serger to insert a ribbon, not elastic, but a ribbon to this part right here. You are supposed to sew some elastic just to really give you some stability so that this doesn't flop too much. In using my serger, not only did I stretch out the fabric in this section, I was then attaching ribbon to it, which sort of held it in that shape. So I had really floppy, ugly, unattractive pockets, and I hated it. It ruined it for me. The crotch felt really low, just a lot of things. I was turned off by it. So I hadn't even put the sleeves on. I just was so disheartened by it. So recently I went back, I unpicked right here where it attached to the waistband up until the pleat, and I unpicked right where the pocket attaches to the side seams, and I went ahead and snipped off that little bit of the pocket piece right here. And then I reattached it, and I love it so much. This time around, I increased my differential feed on my serger all the way up to 2. So that way it was not going to stretch out the fabric while it was serging it. So that was the first thing I did. Then I did the second bit, which was to add the stability. I did it in 2 parts. I'm sure the way that you are intended to do it, instead of trying to quicken things up the way I did the first time. So in doing so the second time, I did stick to using ribbon just because I prefer that. I ended up moving over the pocket about 1/2 inch like into the side seam, just to make sure that it was pulled taut and that I wasn't going to have any bagging out, and I absolutely love it. I actually tried it on once I finished it with the arm side completed and the whole new pockets and all of that, and I didn't hate it. I actually pretty much liked it. I am now considering, I'm going to give my sister a call, and I had told her that I would give it to her, but now that it fits me, I'm gonna see if she'll let me just keep it. I mean, she never really had it anyways. Like, will she miss it, you know? And I am making her the Sicily slip dress. I don't think I'm gonna do any take backsies on that one. It's short and it's not one that I think I need to keep. But what was really bugging me about this were the pockets, and now that they're fixed, I'm sort of like, and the crotch also, like how low that was. But it just feels like a loose fitting jumpsuit to me. I might have to keep this one. We shall see. I will update you on what home this ends up being in for the long run, but I'm so happy I fixed it. It took me 1 hour and 40 minutes to do all of the changes, to do the sleeve cuff, the binding on the legs, the cuff there, and fixing the pockets. So I had timed it to see how long all of that took me, not including the unpicking though, because I had done that in the previous video. Not bad. Now, a new make is this slip skirt. I was tired of hearing myself say I want to make a slip skirt, so I said make the darn slip skirt. This is, you're hearing the crinkle because I have the tissue paper under here, sorry. This is a gorgeous crepe fabric that I found in the dead stock section at G Street Fabrics, and I ended up using this vintage pattern that I had picked up, McCall's 8796, and I used View A, so the more traditional slip skirt style. And I did the actual length of it. It's really beautiful, actually. Now, if you can see, you see how it's sort of like pulling up in this section right here? And this is a lot less. I actually just ended up pulling on the side seams because whenever I make a slip skirt without fail or anything cut on the bias, it sort of like pulls on itself. And I am very, very like cautious with all the things that I've made to date cut on the bias. Always taking extra precautions, doing all the things that I hear in all of the like tips videos for sewing on the bias, including using a narrow zigzag stitch. Now, I don't know if it's the tension on my machine right now and or something that I'm doing, or if my zigzag isn't narrow enough and I just haven't worked out the right settings on my machine for the type of zigzag I'm supposed to be using. But what's happening is the fabric is like I don't know, like shriveling up on itself and causing a lot of tension. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I cut out a size 16, a straight size 16, which I shouldn't have done because this is sort of like going to flow on the bias. I think if I were to make this again, I would cut a straight size 12. This pattern envelope came with sizes 12 to 16, and I was happy to just cut out the largest size. That way I had all of the pattern pieces, like I wasn't cutting into it and losing some of it. And also the finished garment measurement around the hip was a really good finished garment measurement for my hip. What I will do, but with the size 16, the waist measurement was just so big. And they only give you the measurement at the hip line, unfortunately, the finished garment measurements. So anyway, I usually know that a size 16 might be too large for my waist. What I have purchased, though, is a soft sort of 1.5 inch elastic. What I'm thinking of doing is something that Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery did in a bias cut skirt video that she did sort of recently. And what she did was, instead of using a facing, she actually used, I think, about a 1.5 inch, if I'm not mistaken, inch elastic, though, as the facing. And I have seen that done as well in other sort of bias slip skirt sort of tutorials, and I'm very interested in doing that. So what I'll do, I'll comfortably put the elastic around my natural waist and then use that to fit it around the top of this. It will make it have a little bit of, like, you know, wrinkling, if you will, but I do think, one, it will help me not have to, like, I did French seams in this and I'm not going to undo that. And it also has a side seam zip. So again, I don't think I'm going to grade this in much, but in doing the elastic, it'll give me the fit I need at the waist. And then most likely I'll be tucking stuff into it and kind of have it blues on top. So you won't really see a lot of those wrinkles because it'll even itself out by the time you get like to the hip. So I am excited about finishing this up. It still needs a hem on it. I was just letting it drop on the bias. And I starched this very well, so it wasn't too bad to cut out. I cut it out in a single layer the way that you should and followed the instructions in the cutting layout. So I'm very happy with this. I do believe I am going to use the skirt pattern again. I just want to try out the method with doing the elastic in the waistband and give myself some confidence. And I know that I need some more practice with that zigzag stitch on the side seams and see what I'm doing wrong. But I'm really excited to make some more slip skirts soon. I was so excited because at this point I really was feeling my sojo, and it shows because I made quite a few additional garments. I tried out some new patterns. I revisited some old favorites and have found some new favorites, and even made multiples of a particular dress. But in sharing all of those with you, the video is getting extremely long. So for now, we're gonna call it a video for this one and look out for part 2, where I show you these other beautiful makes. Thank you so much for hanging in there, but I hope that you've enjoyed seeing what I've been making so far. I will have full length and, you know, better photos of this coming up shortly, but in order to get this to you in a timely manner, please forgive me that I don't have those, you know, nicely pre-taken photos already. That does take time and take time to edit in and things like that. So I will hopefully have a video coming up for you, which will have a bit more images included. But now, videos that you can expect, I hope to do a rough fall plans video. You kind of see the vibe that I'm giving off, the types of things that I'm interested in sewing right now. Lots of slip skirts, button-up shirts, long dresses, more knits are coming in to, you know, the things that I'm sewing as well at this time. So that is something to look forward to. I also really want to do the this or that challenge that Julie from the Curated Curvy brought on over to these YouTube streets from the Love to Sew podcast episode that she referenced. So I'm excited to do that. Julie tagged me and I just have been trying to get back to it. So I hope to record that video because I thought that that would be a really fun one and a quick one that I can do. My cousin said that she would help me clean out and organize my fabric stash. I'm going to take her up on that offer. If I'm able to record bits and pieces, I will, so I can show you how that goes. And I still owe you a video about the things that I got in Guinea. I got some clothes made and was gifted some, tailor-made garments by some of my aunts. So I want to review sort of the garments that I had made for me, as well as some of the fabrics and notions and things like that that I picked up while I was in Guinea. And I recently have done some fabric shopping at G Street and at Joann's and picked up some notions as well from Amazon and Walmart. So I want to show you the things that I've gotten in there. Whew. So quite a bit to look forward to. I hope that I'm able to carve out time in my schedule to record those and just hit the moments where I'm feeling better and record them, so that there is something in the queue in the times where I may not be feeling as good, so that you have some things and some updates for me, but I can't wait to share those with you. Thank you so much for hanging in there. Again, if you didn't watch my most recent video and you're about to be doing some sewing or some mending or need motivation to mend, I think it's a really great video. Again, very casual, almost as if we were just on Zoom together and you're just getting a peek into my thought process as I am preparing to alter some things, which you've seen the updates of if you've watched till this point. Have a lovely day. I hope you get to do something creative, and I hope to talk to you soon. Please do like and subscribe and tell me in the comments down below, what's your most favorite thing that I've shown you that I made so far? I hope that you're excited to see me back, and I hope to, stick around and be with you with some more videos. Let me know what was your favorite make so far, or what you're looking forward to seeing out of my plans to come. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.